Welcome. In this video I'm going to be taking a look at this iuZee 1080p pan-tilt zoom streaming camera with AI tracking. So this was provided to me by the distributor, but they're not compensating me for this video and they're not reviewing it before I post it. If you find this video helpful and you want to purchase one of these, I'll put a link to it in the description on Amazon, and if you use that link it helps me out a little bit and doesn't cost you anything extra. So here it says optical zoom, 1080p, 60 FPS, AI tracking, AI framing, multi-interface, Sony sensor, and universal compatibility. On the back here we have more specs. You can pause and read through these. I'll go over a couple. Interfaces are USB 3.0, HDMI, RJ45, and SDI. You can set up to 255 presets. The control interfaces are RS-232, RS-485, USB, and network. It supports PoE, or Power over Ethernet. It supports USB UVC. So that said universal compatibility. I'm guessing they're referring to that USB UVC. This is essentially a USB webcam, which makes it compatible with a variety of things, including Macs, PCs, Android, and other devices, Linux, you name it. So our horizontal rotation is 350 degrees, so we're just under 360 degrees. Vertical rotation is 180 degrees. Power supply is 12 volts at 2 amps. Power consumption is 12 watts. So this thing is just loaded with features. So let's get it unboxed. So here we have the user manual. Now you'll want to read through this on your own. We'll take a quick look at it though. So here we have a product description. It shows the different parts. We have the lens, pan, tilt, power, and standby. And this shows all the different interfaces. Here's the packing list. We have the camera, power supply, wall mount, screws, user manual, remote control, and cable. And here are detailed specs. So this is the model in the right-hand column. I think all the specs are the same except for the zoom. And this has a 30x optical zoom. So this has a really good zoom on it. And then we have the camera menu system. So this has an on-screen display menu for changing a lot of the settings. And this goes through that. This has common operating instructions. Camera zoom control, has dip switches for setting some settings, has network function, has real-time streaming protocol, and here we have installation instructions. So I'm going to cover a lot of what's in here in my video, at least I'm hoping to. It's like we have two boxes on the sides. Let me go through those in a little bit. Let's get the camera out. So this is nicely packaged here. So here's the camera. I think that's everything in the box. So you can see we have a rubber lens cover here, and we have that 30x optical zoom. We have power and standby on the front. If we go to the bottom, we have a 1/4-20 tripod thread. We have these large rubber feet. We have a selector switch here, and on the back we have all the ports. So we have the DC, RS-485, RS-232, in and out, USB, HDMI, SDI, line in, line out, and RJ45. So tons of options for interfacing with this. Let's take a look at the accessory boxes here. So here we have the power supply, and this is 12 volts at 2 amps, which is what this is rated for. And we have anchors, and we have this steel wall bracket. And I'm pretty sure this has a sensor in it, so you can mount this upright or upside down and it will automatically know. And this is a pretty hefty bracket. And this thing's not super heavy. It has some heft to it, but this bracket is plenty secure to hold this. You don't want it flopping around. So the power cord coming off of the transformer is about 4 feet. The power cord that plugs into the transformer is around 5 feet. And this is a standard style power cord, so you could get a shorter or longer version of this if you needed to add or remove a foot or two. So in this box we have the remote control, and this has tons of features on it. Pull this open. It's like it pops off the side here. Okay, this takes 2 AAA batteries. I'll just load those in right now. So this has different presets, so you can aim the camera at something, save it as a preset, and then when you press the button, it will automatically go into that. So say you're filming a board meeting and you have 7 board members, you could set your 7 presets to those 7 board members, and as people are speaking, you can press the number and it will automatically zoom in on those people. And then we can change things like zoom, focus, pan, tilt, all that. And here we have a USB cable. So this would be to enable this to work as a USB webcam, and that appears to be around 10 foot, so that's really long. So if we want to connect this up as a webcam, we would plug the power in here to power. We'd plug this in the wall. We'd plug the USB in the back here and plug this into a computer, and the computer will recognize it as a USB webcam. So I'm going to get acquainted with the features of this, and then I'll do some demonstrations. Okay, so I have this set up on my desk, and I'm using just a wireless microphone to run audio into this. So I'll turn that on. So I'm sending the output from the wireless mic receiver into the line in the camera. So you can run the microphone into the camera, or you could run it into your computer or whatever other video equipment you're using. So if you're using OBS, you could use a Bluetooth microphone or a microphone connected to your computer, or you could access the microphone through the camera. So I'll start recording the camera now. I'm cutting in here real quick because I didn't show how I'm recording this video. So I'm actually on a different computer, but it's the same principle. And I'm on a Mac, and you can do similar things on a PC. So I'm in QuickTime Player. So I can go to File, New Movie Recording, and the conference camera will come up, and we can choose the conference camera. It's already up here, but if we go down next to the record button, we can see I have my FaceTime HD camera and my HD camera. And then for microphone, we have a couple different options. You could use the microphone in your laptop or computer, and I have the HD camera one here, so if I plugged a microphone into the camera, I could use it. And then we have our quality is high or maximum. So if you're on Windows, you can use the camera app to record. But of course, you could also use this with Zoom, Skype, OBS, or any other software that accepts USB webcam input. And that's just related to USB input because this also supports HDMI out, SDI, and network streaming. So it's pointing at the ceiling. I'll move it down. So now it's focused on me. And now this can zoom in really far. I'm probably about 4 foot away, and it can zoom in super, super close, as you can see. Of course, it got a little blurry there. So let's hit the AI button. So now this is going to use the AI framing. So as I walk around, it will follow me. Now, if there were multiple people here, it would also frame them in. And then I can hit the button to the left of the AI, and that allows you to choose different people. Since I'm the only one here, there aren't multiple people to choose from. So if I back up, it will follow me. If I move forward, it will point up. Now, it's not super fast, but it does seem to do a pretty good job. When I want to exit, I'll hit the AI button again, and we exited the tracking mode. So I can set different presets. So here we have a smoke detector. I can zoom in on that. So when you're moving around with the pan and tilt, you'll probably just want to tap it as opposed to hold it down, especially when you're zoomed in on something. So as you can see, we can zoom in very, very far here. Now, if I want this as a preset, I'm going to press preset 1 on the remote, and it said set 1 OK. So now I can zoom out of this. Let's just zoom out to start. And I will move it towards me, and I'll hit 1, and it will zoom back in on that. So let me set up a couple other targets. Okay, so I've set up 5 presets. So I'll go to preset 1, and here we have the smoke detector. We'll have preset 2. That's the fish tank. We have 3, which is the weather station. We have 4, which is the toy set, and 5 is me. So I switch back and forth between all of those in real time so you can see how fast it can switch. So if this was a corporate meeting, a board meeting or something, you could press the buttons to switch between the different members very quickly with remote control. Now when I'm pan and tilting, I press left and right, and when I press to the right, it goes to the left because it's mirrored, but you can press the LR set button to switch that. So if I press LR set, when I press to the right now, it will actually move the camera to my right as opposed to its right. Now I was using the fast zoom a lot, but it also has a slow zoom on it. Let's do a little bit of that. So this is slow zoom, and this is fast zoom. We can also hit mirror, which is going to switch me to the other side. And we can change the brightness. So I can lower that or raise it. Now if I hit play pause, it will pause the video. I don't know if it's going to pause the audio or not. So I'll move back and forth. I'll hit pause. If you can hear this, that means it was recording the audio during the pause. So I recorded some audio during the pause. If you heard that, it means it does record during the pause. If not, it does not record during the pause. So if we want to remove one of the presets, we can press reset and then the number, and it will remove that preset from the camera. So I was recording this using USB on my Mac. We have all the different outputs on here, and you could record using SDI or HDMI or multiples at the same time. So you could have the HDMI plugged in on a monitor for previewing, and then you could be recording with USB. So that makes it very versatile. So I want to take a quick look at accessing this from the network. So a neat feature of this is that it supports power over Ethernet. So here I have an Ethernet cable plugged into a power over Ethernet or PoE switch. So this is supplying power and network to the camera. So you can mount this on a bracket somewhere and just run a single wire for power and network. That makes it very convenient. So here are the instructions for connecting to this via the network. We need to change our IP address on our computer to 192.168.0.200. So you want to have the camera and your computer both connected to the same Ethernet network, and this would be the IP address for your Ethernet network. Now, if you're already using this IP range on your network, that could complicate things a little bit, but that's a little beyond the scope of this video. So once you set this up on your computer, you go to a web browser at this address here, which is the IP address of the camera. So let's head to the computer and I'll do this. Now, I'm not going to show this in detail. Changing the IP address can be different for Mac and Windows, and even different versions of those systems can be different. So you can research how to do this on your system. And then once the website comes up, we have the credentials here. Okay, so I'm at the web interface for the camera. I'll log in, and here we can see a preview of the camera, so I can control it with the arrows here. If I go down here, I can set presets, so I'll hit setting. I'll move away, I'll go back and I'll hit call. And it will move back to the preset position. Now I have my resolution set really low when I do screen captures like this. Typically you would see all of that on the screen. So we can change the tilt, pan, zoom speed, focus mode. If we go to image, we have image settings, exposure settings, white balance settings. If we go to setup, we can go into our network settings, and here we can change the IP address, so we could give this an IP address on our own network. We can also set this to automatic. So typically you would probably want to set this to a static IP on your network, and then switch your IP address back on your computer to be on your network, and then you can access your camera. Because right now we really have just a network with the camera and my computer set up. And then from here we have different streaming protocols and such. So that's just another way you can access the camera, is over IP. So that's the iuZee 1080p pan tilt zoom conference camera with AI. I tried to show a lot of features of this, but I feel like I only scratched the surface. This has tons of outputs on it, has great video quality, has that super zoom, 30x zoom. So if you had this in a church, you could have this mounted near the back and you could zoom in towards the front. We have features like power over Ethernet, so you can mount this anywhere. And it has tons of functionality using the remote. And then if you want expanded functionality, you could connect this to the network, or you could even connect up a control joystick to it. So a camera like this would be great in a conference room, church, city hall, classroom. There are instances where this could even be useful in a home office. You could have this point to you at your desk, and then maybe point to a whiteboard while you're collaborating with someone, and you could just press buttons on the remote to switch back and forth between those things. And as far as connecting it to a computer, if you can plug in and connect up a webcam to software, you can do the same with this. So that's all I'm going to cover in this video. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. If you like this video, please click like. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, I'd appreciate it if you could do that. And thanks for watching. Until next time, goodbye.